Adventures in Colorectal Cancer, 2026, August 11th. So, August 7th, last Friday, the tumor board, cancer board, whatever it's called, met to discuss my case. And then yesterday, August 10th, Monday, I went up to see the colorectal surgeon to find out what they decided to do with me. I'm pretty tough. First of all, being autistic, my emotions are on a tripwire. I don't feel anything, and then something happens, and then I feel it all, which plays havoc with relationships, as you can imagine. But it also means I'm pretty immune to stress. My boss at IMAX Digital used to call me Iceman because he figured I had ice water in my veins because I really never showed stress, and I was always good in stressful situations. IMAX Digital was under a lot of pressure to produce. And I just seemed to be able to ignore the stress and get my job done. I did a lot of, people call them adrenaline sports. So I rock climb, mountaineering, a lot of glacier travel, whitewater kayaking, keelboat racing, sailboat racing in pretty severe conditions in the southern Straits of Georgia. And I can always manage the stress level. I really don't like adrenaline. Adrenaline brings on, I can't adjust. So some people can really sort of moderate their level of adrenaline so that it can clarify things for them and give them extra strength. Because of this tripwire sort of emotional thing, my adrenaline hits are like full on and really instigate fight or flight immediately. And it tends to be fight. I tend to see red. I had a girlfriend that, I try to moderate my emotions so that I don't see red, and she really wanted to see my emotions. And when she tripped them, boy, she got something more than she really was bargained for. And then she was like all upset that, why are you so mad? Well, like, knock it off. I don't wear my emotions on my sleeve. Anyway, but the thought of surgery really gets me at my core. Don't know why. So the surgeon's continually talking about surgery. I mean, every time I go there, right from the first time, the first thing, he keeps drawing these little images of, this is your digestive and colon and blah, 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 and we're going to cut here and do this and blah, 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 and then maybe a colostomy bag, and then, this and that, and then you'll have, and it's just like, I can just feel the anxiety and the fear. It just clamps my chest. So as I'm driving from, I'm in Northborough, at the border of Northborough and Capitol Hill, and he's down by Metrotown, was sort of mid Burnaby. And as I'm driving there to park in Metrotown, I can feel my anxiety rising. I can feel my chest tightening. I can feel my blood pressure starting to go up. Just because I don't show my emotions doesn't mean I'm not aware of the symptoms. Because like I really don't want my adrenaline spike because it really makes it hard. And I'm walking over, and so I have to go out, and the building's just across the street, up 7th floor, and you can just feel it, and my heart is pounding, and my chest is tightening, and I can just feel the fight or flight response just begging to be let loose. And I'm told to get there about 3:45, 4 o'clock. So I am, and there's people, and I'm sitting there waiting, and there's people before me coming in and out of his office, and in and out of the um, the rooms, the little, I'll think of the name, where the people, you know, sit and wait, or are looked after, the cabanas. And I'm waiting, and it's all I can do to control not getting up and saying, fuck it all. My jaw is clenching, my hands are clenching, I can just feel the muscles in my legs twitching to run. It is amazing, and it is a major effort to let go. I'm going to do some AA on here, to let go and let God. I can't control this situation. I have to face this situation. Running away from the situation isn't going to resolve anything in my health. It could make my health, because I don't know. Like, we really don't know. Do I have cancer? Do I not? Did they get it all? Did they not? I finally go into the office, and I'm sitting there, and the colorectal surgeon walks in and says, "How are you?" And I've always been very honest with him. I said, "I'm terrified that I've been rejected for radiation by the cancer board." Now, I don't know what, bless his heart, like, really. And he said, "Well, hold on." And he sits down, because I understand he's got his spiel that he wants to do, because he wants to explain everything and give me the full picture. Like, he wants to be as forthcoming as possible. So he sits down, and again, he draws, he says, "This is your colon system. This is your rectum. Okay, so I said, I understand." He said, "Well, we have a problem with how the polyp was removed." I said, "Yes, they smeared the margin." He said, "Well, it's more than that." And so he says, what happened was, they didn't take it out in one piece. They took it out in a couple of pieces, and they don't know how to put it back together. So it wasn't only that they smeared the margin, but they took it out in two pieces. So they really don't know what's going on. He says he thinks, and so a lot of what's now happening is supposition based on their experience, which is not very good for a diagnosis. Like, in automotive, like, it's Swaptronics and I can't remember what the other one, where you just swap shit and hope that you find the problem. He said, "But we really don't think, we think there's a very, very low chance that this has got into your lymph system, because if it's in your lymph system, you got problems." And again, he described, our imaging technology really doesn't have a very good resolution, and it only has about a 50% chance of picking up something, which is quite surprising to me. And he said, when I redid the biopsy, I redid it on the scar site, but it was scar tissue, and really don't know what's going on. So, like, I'm going like, okay, this doesn't sound good. And again, this is your digestion. digestive system. Now we can do so. We all agree that they all agreed that monitoring me is just not appropriate. And he said, there's three things that we can do. He said, number one, the gold standard is remove your rectum. And I'm going like, I said, right, because like, how can I have rectal cancer if I don't have a rectum, right? Well, and he said, well, hold on, because it's a 5-year thing. Even if we remove the rectum, you're on a 5-year plan because we don't know where else this thing is. And then he said, the other thing we can do is just excise the site. But there's a couple of problems with that. Number one, they still don't know if they've got it all. Number two, there is a significant possibility of nicking the abdominal wall and the site leaking into the abdomen, and that's a world that you really don't want to get into. That's having a septic abdomen is complications, significant complications. And he said, and the last thing is chemoradiation, which I think you prefer. I'm going like, yes. He said, now look, the absolute gold standard is removing the rectum. But, in your particular case, chemoradiation is just about as good because we don't think it's got in we think they actually got all of the cancer out, the tumor out. We don't think it's in the lymph system. The position is in that midpoint, top third, bottom third of the rectum, so it's easy for me to see. I can monitor you in my office. We don't need to go to the hospital to do this, and you're very reliable. So we can do. You're not going to skip any appointments. So we can do close. You're a good opportunity to do close monitoring on. At that point, like I lost it. Like all of a sudden, the fear left me, and the absolute gratitude. I started crying, just overwhelmed. And I just said, look, I'm really overwhelmed with emotions. It's very hard for me to think. I need a moment here. And he was very gracious and said, yeah, I fully understand. And so like, he keeps, he really wanted to make me understand that the gold standard is to remove the rectum. But in your specific case, with your specific conditions and your desire not to have surgery, I think that chemoradiation will work just as well. And he again reiterated, you have to be reliable for your checkups. This is a 5-year plan. You're going to be under close surveillance, and if it changes, it's surgery. And I went, yeah, okay, I understand. Yep, I'm retired. Got a new project. I got a 5-year project. What every design engineer wishes for, a 5-year project. You're going to have something to do for 5 years. So yeah, that's the current state of things. Boy, did I sleep well last night. That's the best sleep I've had in a long time. So now it's waiting to hear from whatever the Vancouver Cancer Center, whatever it's called, to go in and see how this thing goes. And to all of the people who know about this, my gratitude for your support and your positive thinking, because I don't know, I will not because of some childhood stuff, I tend to be flat in my expectations. I don't think the worst positive. I don't think the worst. I do see vis pacem parabellum. If you seek peace, prepare for war. If hope for the best, but plan for the worst. So, yes, I hope that I don't have cancer or it's radiation. I hope I don't have surgery, but I make the plans for the surgery. It's just the way I'm built. So, people misinterpret this. I tend to be very flat about my expectations. I really try to keep them until I know a direction, and then yes. And then it's just the way I'm built. Childhood stuff. But like I say, for all of those people who know about this and were thinking very positive thoughts and telling me that, man, I appreciate you. I cannot tell you the gratitude that I have, especially to the two people who shared their cancer stories with me. Yeah. And those people know who they are. So yeah. So yeah, the adventure continues. Making appropriate life decisions. You don't make any money, but boy, do you get good stories.